Reverend John Phelps. I go, Father John, like the coster. And I gotta let you know I'm an Irish American, and Irish Americans, they have a lot of kissing cousins. So I've met a lot of your cousins, John, and became a lot of kissing cousins too. Now you can imagine my role was to be the referee between Doretha and John. Now I rest my case. You know, I got thinking a little more serious, and I have dedicated my life to working with young people who are dropping out of school and church. So I gave my life to that back in '73. And when I did that, it was because of funerals. And I wanted to stop it. I wanted to stop. And they weren't going to stop in church, and they weren't going to stop in school. And I was sick and tired of seeing kids caught dead in church. So I wanted to stop it. So I got out of doing what people usually do when they're called pastors, and that's how I attracted John. See, he thinks out of the box. And our slogan is Isaiah 49:15, that if a mother forgets her child, I won't forget you.
Amen.
I don't think it's an accident that we're celebrating this on the eve of Mother's Day. See, Life Directions is a mother that she ain't got. If you turn to page 7, you can do it later, you'll see a whole group of hands together. And we Catholics and Protestants, and we Jews and Gentiles, we're all kind of screwed up together. Because we don't know how to open our hands and just be. So I wanted to let you know that this is how I remember you, John. You have a good name, and it's more desirable than great wealth. The respect of others is better than any silver or gold. Rich and poor are found together. Thank you, Lisa, for better or for worse. The reward of humility is the fear of the Lord. A blessing awaits a man who's kindly, since he shares his bread with the poor. We're going to have a little custom in Life Directions, and we're going to be remembering. We're going to put together a quilt, and the quilt is going to be called Forget Me Not. And the Forget Me Not quilt will let anyone who's been touched by us in Life Directions to put down how they remember us. And John will be on their quilt. And many of you will be there. Because the quilt is made to remember the children. And John, I am grateful that you taught me, not Chinese, a little Spanish, but you taught me that English is not yet getting it right. And I grew up in St. Louis, and I came to Detroit 3 days before the riots of '67. And there was a fireman behind a wall, and he had a gun in one hand and a hose in another, and he asked me, "Where's God? Where's God?" Man, I froze. Then about 8 years later, I says, "I know where God is. He's where he sends us." So John, I'm glad I met God through you.
Amen.
Since he's a preacher, I figured I'd say something about the Bible. Is that okay? Excuse me. My denomination ain't known for that book. You know what I mean? We all seen that, done that, right? All right now. Paul said something to the people of Rome. I'd like us all to know it to be true of us. But let's watch John really live this, and let us learn the legacy of his love. Life and death of each of us has an influence on others. If we live for the Lord. If we die for the Lord. so that alive or dead, we belong to the Lord.
Amen.